This is the stuff dreams are made of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm writer-collector Dave Mandel, and you're listening to the original movie prop collecting podcast, brought to you by Heritage Auctions, HA.com. They've got the giant Game of Thrones auction coming up October 10th, 11th, and 12th in Dallas, Texas, HA.com. And we're going to be talking all about that Game of Thrones auction today. So thank you, Heritage, and welcome, everybody. Ryan, we're back. I think, didn't we just record the season finale like an hour ago? It feels like.
Yes, we did. We did. We're just folding one thing. This is like network television back in the 80s where you
we do
you
80
finish
a
in
year.
May and then everybody does a bunch of Coke and then you come back, and in September you're somehow it's written, you have 26 episodes and you're just doing it again.
When we did Seinfeld, which was 22, it was always really funny because, we had the master board in Larry and Jerry's office, and the board would sort of fill up at the top. It was because everybody like had an episode. And so you'd kind of get like this, like the first 8. And then there, and basically you had to have like 12 by December. And then those last couple of like 9, 10, 11, and 12 were just like, oh, the cupboard's bare. Okay, we've got one. We've got another. And, and then by the end, and it's like, okay, take 2 weeks. And then you would come back from Christmas and it'd be like, we've got nothing. And, 12 more. But somehow we did do it.
Somehow you did it, yeah. Ron Moore at some point said about, I think he was talking about Next Gen, but I think he was talking about Star Trek in general. It's like, if you just feel it every season, there's this like hammock right around the 15th, 16th, 18th episode where you're just like, I'm out of ideas. There's that, we're doing Picard's birthday party. and then there's this like new rush of, once you realize you're sucking for a little bit, then there's this new rush of like, oh God, we've got to do good stuff again. And then it finishes really strong.
If you went through the Seinfeld episodes, I don't think there's any specific like, that like, oh, those were worse. There were some great episodes in there, obviously sometimes when just when there's nothing, that's when invention comes. But it is funny when you think about 22 episodes, you do start to think to yourself, well, with 22 episodes, yeah, there were 5 really good ones, or you know what I mean? And then there were a bunch that were pretty okay. And I'm not sure there were ever quote unquote bad ones, but there were always 5 that people sort of forget about until they show up again, in the in syndication or whatnot. But it was sort of like, 5 really good, kind of 10 in the middle, and then 5 were the less said the better. But you sort of forget about that. But
yeah, I mean, I once empathize with that. I'm also insanely jealous of it because when you're doing 8, there tends to be
the pressure
scrutiny
of all 8. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
The scrutiny of it. Yeah. But season 9, welcome everybody. Thank you for sustaining us. Season 9 of whatever this is. But thank you.
It's a podcast, David, called The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of. It's about collecting.
How's it doing?
Movie props. Not well. We have sponsors though.
We do have sponsors. God bless
We've
them.
officially outlasted Game of Thrones, Dave. We're 1 season longer than Game of Thrones, the most successful television series of all time. So
and as
there
I
you
said
go.
to you before, I believe we have outlasted everything ever on Netflix by like 7 seasons, right? No, it's just 2 seasons of everything on Netflix.
We've been going long. I don't think Netflix itself has been running for 9 years. I think they conquered the world in like 6, right? Like we're ahead of them as a whole operation.
We are the MASH of podcasts, or the MASH of prop collecting podcasts.
Are we aspiring to Gunsmoke? Is that where we're trying to get to?
Or is it Gunsmoke or is it Bonanza? Which one ran forever? I thought it was Bonanza.
Oh, they both. I know it's Gunsmoke.
Did they both? Oh.
I think they both did, but I think Gunsmoke is the one that famously had the most episodes.
Well,
I mean, really, it would be like
now it's The Simpsons, maybe. I think The Simpsons.
That or General Hospital, or you have to go to the soaps and things like that. Yeah.
That's why people call us the Luke and Laura of prop collecting.
Exactly.
We've got an excellent season coming up. We're starting this year as with the Game of Thrones auctions, which we will get to in a moment. It's a monster. 3 days, 900 lots, just crazy. It's just kind of wild, but we've got some great stuff. We're going to do, we got some deep dives coming up. We've got we got a lot of fun. I think I'm really excited about this season, even though the last one just ended.
Yeah, we have a bunch of cool guests in the offing, and things are sort of they're nebulous, and then they start to come together as the schedule gets real. But we should probably run from right here until Christmas. Basically, I mean, we might have to take a week or two here or there just based on our breaks and travel and work stuff. stuff as work is getting much busier, I think, for both of us, as we march ahead. But it should be a fun season, Dave.
Yeah, and a lot of auctions, a lot
A
of
lot,
auctions.
yeah,
Yeah, there
to
are a
keep us
lot of
sustained.
auctions. Yeah,
Yes.
so that will constantly be in there. A lot of auctions. So as always, email us about anything you want. We lot of questions, a lot of questions to be answered. So it'll be very exciting.
Yes. But
Um,
this it was we were sort of debating offline, do we do 2 episodes on this? And I think it just the auction is so big, and it's also it's the thing that everybody's talking about. I mean,
yeah,
when I just was together with the UK prop collecting crew the other night, and I mean, we were going to see the preview, the Heritage London preview of the auction, which will probably be wrapped by the time this is over, but there was a
yeah.
public viewing.
I think they're going to be gone by then. But in terms of what's new in props? We both I went to New York and you were in London, and we both got to go to the preview. I shot a bunch of videos. So check out our YouTube channel, the Stuff Dreams Are Made of YouTube channel. I got to sort of play with all the different the houses, if you will. So I got to see a lot of stuff. I think there was a little bit more in New York City than at your preview, but it was
Yes. Yeah,
pretty cool to see the stuff. Yeah,
it was definitely smaller in London, but yeah, the stuff is really really gorgeous, and particularly the costumes. I mean, we'll get
the
into all that.
level of the costumes is just really special. Just like the care that went into it, and obviously not everything is real. Obviously, fur is fake, gold isn't gold, and whatnot. Armor isn't always armor, but just the like I don't know. They could have done it probably in a way that would have been simpler, but they didn't. And it really the costumes are really something special
The attention
to
to
see. Yeah,
detail and everything. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and it's funny, people keep sending me links to this and the news and this and that, and are you bidding? And I think this is, I don't know what the equivalent is, Dave, but if you were an accountant, would you want to bid on a bunch of calculators
right.
and fax machine?
This is your Star Wars day, basically, or something like
Exactly.
that. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think it's all very cool, and I'm happy to talk about it. But rest assured, everybody, you're not competing against me. Don't worry about it. This is all. I see all this stuff, not this stuff, but stuff very much like it all the time, and
right.
it's.
Well,
I'm fine.
I will say the following for me, which is maybe sort of different, which is I didn't think I really cared. I got to be honest. Like I enjoyed the show. I watched
Mhm.
every episode. I haven't gone back. I've never like rewatched or anything like that. But I figure maybe
Mhm.
someday, maybe my kids will want to watch or something like that. Um, but so I haven't thought much about it. Somewhere in there, I read, one of the making of books, like the
Mhm.
behind the scenes book. I was interested enough in that. Um, and so when the auction kind of I was hearing about it, I was like, oh, that sounds cool, whatever, whatever, whatever. But the catalog showed up. We got, an advanced peek at the catalog, and I just started kind of going through it, and the costumes evoked, memories of episodes and whatnot. And I got to go see the stuff now twice. And yeah, I don't know, it reinterested me, I guess, for lack of a better word, which I don't know, I sort of was surprised. I don't know if it was a pleasant surprise, but it was definitely like, oh, this is cool stuff. As opposed, I don't know what I was thinking. It was just sort of like that was a couple of years ago, but no, I'm kind of intrigued by a couple of pieces now. So
Great. Great.
we'll
Well,
see what happens. Yeah.
does this suffice as what's new in props, or we just
I
jump into
think
it? Because
so because I'm not sure there is anything really particularly what's new in props since we recorded
well,
our last episode 10 minutes ago.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
I think we'll get stuff over the season, but I feel like that this is a chunky episode, so it's probably
Let's
worthwhile.
get through this catalog. Let's get through the live episode, and then we'll have a proper what's new in props
Yeah,
of some sort. Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's
I have
fair.
some
Yeah.
comic art news to share, so
Oh, very exciting.
we can
And
tease
I'll
that.
hopefully have some display news to share by the
Ooh.
time we actually get to an actual real what's new in props. But let's dig into this bad boy. I'm going to say it one more time. It is October 10th, 11th, and 12th. The auction will be live in Dallas, Texas. You can go to ha.com. You can order a catalog. I think you can download a PDF or you can look at it online. Uh, the catalog for me has become a little bit of a like a little bit of a must-have. It feels like there's just so much stuff from all 8 seasons. You know, I already said 900 lots that I just kind of enjoy this one as a, you know, a reference book, I guess. So I'm kind of a fan of this. Just as a fan of the show, I like this catalog. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I saw the
And
physical copies for the first time when I was there at the London preview, and they're very nice.
yeah,
If you can buy one, if you can get your hands on one, it's definitely worthwhile. I mean, it's kind of a collectible in itself.
yeah, it's always fun when a catalog sort of, I don't know, transcends the auction, and that's what this one feels a little bit like. You
Yeah.
know, if you've been reading other, you know, books on Game of Thrones, this goes next to it, I think,
This is
which
a
is an
moment in
yeah,
time, Dave. I
yeah,
mean, the people still to this day, the thing that I guess I can most draw a line to is still to this day when all these collectors get together, they talk about the Paramount Star Trek auction.
yeah,
And I feel like this is, that was 20 years ago at this point.
right.
I feel like this is very, very much the same in terms of, this landmark series. And I just think like if
And
you want something, this is your
this is your
chance. Go
chance, yeah.
go get it.
And I'll go one step further and look, I think it's the changing sort of the changing world of television, just how much television has changed since this show ended. Not because of this show, but just in general, the full move to streaming. You know, when this thing was on at its height in the back end, it used to kind of crash. What was it called? HBO Go? Was that the
Yeah.
old system?
Yeah.
It used to like they'd have like HBO Go crashes on Sunday night. Now we live in a streaming universe. And I'm just not sure any show, you know, really ever will capture the same. We're all home on Sunday night watching
Yeah.
this thing, and
Yeah.
I think that is a, you know, every
We caused
year we
some
get.
problems on HBO Max this year,
Oh,
Dave,
there
I
you
will
go.
say
Good for you. Good for you.
proudly.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, but you know what I mean. But even that, it's people
No, no.
watching different times, and I just think
It is a different thing.
there was still a Sunday at, what was it, 10? Sunday at 10? Sunday at 9? I can't
9,
remember.
I think,
9.
yeah.
Or was Veep 9? I don't know. Now I can't remember. Or was Veep 8 or 8:30? Was Barry 8 or Silicon Valley was 8 and we were 8:30 and they were 9? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The
Mm.
point being is Sunday night was very much still the sense of everybody's watching. And I'm not just not sure we're ever going to see that with any show on any network, HBO or otherwise. And so I don't know. This is I don't know, pretty cool. And just this is not even a I want to buy this thing, but I want to talk a little bit about the catalog. One other thing, and I'm specifically going to talk about the first lot, which is 89001, which is the White Walker. And what I loved was that this is the first thing you saw in the first episode, basically, and it is the first lot, basically. And that basically the catalog is organized by season, and within the season, it's not exactly chronological per se, but there is a chronology to it, and I kind of dug that in terms of this catalog.
Yeah.
It gets difficult because obviously in every season every character has multiple different costumes in every season, so you have to constantly be going like, well, what does this Jon Snow have? Now I got to jump to season 3. What does this Jon Snow have? What does this Jon Snow have? But that being said, as a page turn, I enjoyed how it captured the show for me. So I did want to say a little
Yes,
kudos on that. Yeah.
I agree, and I think in the live episode, Dave, we can get into a bit of strategy because I don't think we have our traditional categories the way the way we
Yeah.
usually do in terms of favorite Star Wars prop in this auction. But I think those are the things we can talk about. I think for this one, this will be our kind of classic sort of day one, which is our list of our favorite things in the auction, and we can kind of ping pong back and forth and just talk about the things that we responded
Right.
to.
But
And
maybe do it by season. So we kind of talk about
sure,
season 1
yeah,
pieces
we
and
start
season 2.
start
Yeah.
chronologically. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my plan.
Um, oh, good. Okay. Well, then perfect. See, in lieu of a production meeting, this is all working. Um,
This is the production meeting.
oh, live production meeting. Welcome to the
Mhm.
live production meeting.
Yeah.
That'd be our other podcast. It would be the Stuff Dreams Are Made Of and the Stuff
What
Dreams
are
Are
we
Made
doing
Of
here?
production meeting. Yeah. um, well, where do you want to start? Do you have a place you want to start?
I mean, I flagged up lot 2, the Waymar Royce sword, just because that's the opening sequence of
Yep.
the show, and that's the pilot. I mean, they shot that thing first up, and if you're talking about things there were likely only one of, that sword is probably the one. It's probably the one that they made for the show. Just it's one sequence. That guy dies in the teaser. Spoiler alert. I just remember that for me that sequence imprinted on me from the book, just because I remember it being so well written and so evocative of the place and setting, and kind of walking in between the world of, you're reading a historical fiction book, you're reading a fantasy book, you're kind of reading both. And it was adult and violent, and somebody said fuck, which you had never heard in a Lord of the Rings book before. And I think that's the particular thing, that prologue just really I remember reading it for the first time. So I certainly remember seeing it for the first time, and I just think that's a cool piece. And again, I would be shocked if there was like more than two of those things in
Right.
existence. I think that's just a good one, and it's the first thing you see kind of in Game of Thrones.
It is, yeah, I mean, the walker and then that, yeah, no, it's an early and good memory. Um, I was gonna say, and this is where I don't know where this exactly fits in. When I think about season 1, and you'll sort of see some of the things that I picked out. And again, I'm just, things that hit me, favorites and whatnot. When I think of season 1 of the show, I think a lot about Ned Stark. So I don't know why. That's where I was kind of
Yeah.
looking. I mean, it's really cool because so many of the characters, it's their first appearances, so to speak. And I guess if this was comic art, everybody would be going crazy because it's first appearances, first appearances, first appearances. Um, I'm not sure if there's any extra value in a first appearance, because obviously there's something really nice about charting the evolution of these characters through all the seasons. But when I do think about, like, when I turned this show on and knew nothing about it and had not even read a book, I started reading the books after the first season. Um, it was a little bit of, Sean Bean is, I think, what brought me into the show, and the character of Ned Stark, who, seemed like the moral center of the show
Yeah.
right up to the moment where he wasn't. No spoilers, but
I mean,
so
I think he goes out the moral center of the show, Dave.
yes, I
That
guess
was
he
his
does still
problem.
go out the moral center. Yeah, that was sort of his problem, was being a moral center. But I guess I was very intrigued even from right from the get go. 89004, which I know is not Valyrian steel, but just that very recognizable, just sword
Mhm.
from his belt there. I thought that was just really cool. And I love the little details of the story here about the fight and the training between him and I don't know, Nikolai, I don't know how you pronounce his
Nikolai.
name, but
Yeah.
Nikolai, who played Jamie Lannister, and that fight. And of course they cheat, and the guards stab poor Ned in the leg and whatnot. But again, I just was going to say, I think a lot about Ned Stark when I'm thinking about this season. So that was one for me that I thought was just very cool. Uh, and I guess, yeah, in a world of strategy and whatnot, I do wonder if some of these early pieces maybe not bargains, but maybe just a chance because people are worrying about, day
Yeah.
3, season 7. I don't know. But again, Ned Stark early. So wherever that
Yeah.
fits in. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I jumped to lot 11, the Hound helmet,
Yeah,
which I just
this
think,
was incredible to see. Yeah, just
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, I've said I think this is probably my favorite thing in the auction. I just particularly identify with the Hound as a character. He was kind of my favorite character in the book, side character, because he does never get a POV, at least
Right.
hasn't yet to date. And I think,
I'm pretty sure the next book he does. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
is it going to happen?
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
That's what I think. I read that online. Yeah.
I think it just so embodies the character. I love the sort of bananas out there-ness of the design, but it still somehow fits into the world. And it talks about a bit in the lot, and I know this from working on a similar show. This kind of design didn't really come into vogue until more of the Renaissance era. So Renaissance era, sort of the um, uh, middle of the century, middle of the millennia, I would say, versus the century, with animal designs and the heads. But because Thrones is a fantasy world, they even though it was based more on the sort of Crusade era Middle Ages, for lack of a better term, they brought some of that more intricate design up, and I think it blended really nice into the world. This is a great example, and he's called the Hound, and he has a dog
Right.
helmet. I just think that's awesome.
But it almost also speaks to, his uniqueness as a character, that his helmet is so unique. If everybody was wearing an animal
Sure.
helmet, I think we wouldn't care quite as much, but it was so
Yeah.
striking because nobody is. I agree. This is fantastic.
Was
And
that
then,
there in the did you
well,
see that live in the
this
flesh?
was my question, and I'm now getting a little lost, which is, I saw a full Hound outfit. So is there a second lot that
There
has a
is.
full, so
Yeah,
this is the standalone
minus
helmet.
minus the helmet. Yeah.
Oh, it's 2 separate lots. Okay,
I
so you're
think so,
saying,
yeah, because I have that flagged as well. That's,
okay,
89165, but we'll
they
get
had
there.
it displayed in New York as one thing, and I guess I wasn't sure if it
Got
was
it.
separate or not. So, okay, that makes more sense. I got a little
Yes,
lost there. Yeah.
unfortunately, the armor is a separate lot. If you were able to get both and put it together, bingo bango, I think you might have the best thing in the auction other than a couple of these key hero ensembles that are just gonna go bananas.
I gotta be honest, I might have put them together as one thing, because if I don't win this, I honestly, even if I did win this, I'm not sure I care about the armor quite as much. I think
Also true, yeah.
the helmet is a wonderful standalone piece. In my own collection, if you can remember back, I don't think we were doing the show at that point. No, I don't think we were at all. But years ago, when some of the Excalibur stuff started sort of showing up, I grabbed the Uther Pendragon helmet, because I love that movie, and it's a somewhat unique sort of, a little bit of a rhino-esque helmet, very
Yep.
sort of stands out. Um, and grabbed it, and I don't have Uther's armor. I just have the helmet, and it's fantastic. And I don't know. I just say, if you got this, I'm not sure you need anything else. I'll just tell you that, for whatever it's worth. But
If you have
uh,
one, you don't need the Uther, is that what you're saying?
no, I'm saying you don't need the armor if you win this, but
I know,
you
it's
need
just
Uther.
a
Yeah,
terrible
no, I
pun,
know.
Dave.
There you go.
Thank you.
Uh,
Um, I was working on that. It was stuck in my head. Uh,
you're
I
workshopping it. Yeah.
yeah. I work out my stuff live. Unless you have anything, I jumped to lot 24. I think we can just say because I think these all fall into the it's
Yes,
eight,
the eight
9, and then
nines. Yeah.
whatever. But I think just for the ease, we can just drop that off. Because
I
I
marked
feel like everything
this
is
as
in my
well, and I got to see
24.
this. Yeah, I got to see
Yeah,
this in forgive me, in New York as well, which is the sort of again, the how we see Tyrion for the first time. Tyrion, whatever,
yeah,
first appearance, is that, again, if we're calling it first appearance, but again, such a memorable character, multi Emmy award winning and whatnot, and this was just really gorgeous. What the thing that struck me were the layers, that, like, the trouble they went to, that you can sense the wealth of the family there, the Lannister wealth, just in
yeah.
whether it's the gold and the red, but that on top of the sort of leather tunic, but the shirt underneath and the pants. It just, there was a sense of, you look at this, you look at it like a peasant, you look at the people in the north, and there
Well,
is
it's the
a
people that he's
definitive
running around
difference.
with
Yeah,
because he's running around with these cell swords and the
right.
hill people, the burned men from the mountains of the moon, and
Yeah,
he just stands out in amongst all of it with his finery and his jewelry and everything. And look, there's a couple of these in the auction. I just think like to me, and again, we'll get into this, I think, more in the live episode in terms of strategy and things you should be chasing. Like, look at the costumes, people. Look at the costumes. All of this stuff was used for sure. They didn't make one of these and then not use it. They made them, they cycled them, they washed one, they used the other. A lot of these things, particularly in the early seasons, they wore it all kind of all season long. Like it was used on screen. I'm sure you'll be able to match it if you do the work. These are the things you should be looking at, especially with principal characters like this.
yeah, no, totally. I thought it'd be worth stopping at 26, which is the dragon egg. Basically, I believe they said that they're calling this a first version dragon
I
egg,
think they're
which
prototypes,
I think
Dave.
they're
I mean,
prototypes. That's what they had said to me previously.
I
That
know for a fact that the eggs there were the three eggs, the hero ones, the one that
Yeah,
Amelia is holding in the photo. those all went home with the executive producers. Like each person took one away
And
at the
well
end.
they should, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, when I was in, Dallas, I believe they described them to me as prototypes as well, although it doesn't quite say that here. So you might wanna double check that, but, I'm pretty sure this is considered a prototype. This is not the final version, but it's as close as they have because the other eggs are gone,
yeah, and
and I
they're very cool. I
they're
just
really cool, and I think
you
they're
should know what you're getting.
close. Yeah, you just should know what you're getting, exactly. But I did think they were kinda cool, unto themselves. Um where are you next in this fine season?
I'm at 9. Well, I liked 67. Jump down a bit unless there's
Yep.
anything in between. I mean, this stuff is all great, guys. We're just trying to pick out things that are
Yeah, I mean, I did
that leave
peek at
out. And
Jon Snow's Night Watch, and I sort of decided
yeah,
that's not the Jon Snow I want per
probably not,
se.
but that
Yeah,
probably means if you want a Jon Snow piece, do some bidding there, because that's the other. And we'll talk about in the live episode is strategy in terms of like I feel like you need to, unless you're coming in with a Brinks truck full of cash and resources, which some of you might. I think the real thing to do on this is not to. You got to look at it like real estate. You can't get too emotional over one piece in particular. You need to be able to bid something up and then move on, knowing that there will be something else and there will be
yeah,
deals to
and
be
I think
had.
it's worth thinking about it if I'm interested in a character, maybe to rank your like there's there'll be like at least 7 or 8 versions, rank your favorites and think about it that way a little bit. So that, if you're interested more in some of the later stuff, maybe you go a little easier and see if you can get a bargain earlier on. However you want to think
Yeah.
about it, but the different ways. I did like 50 again, just to come back to another Ned Stark. I really liked it, especially because it had forgive me, the hand
The
pin
pen.
on it,
Yeah.
which I kind of really dug that as a detail. I like how sort of different it is. Like, he's not in the North. He's trying to fit in, in court, so to speak. It came with
And there's this nice detail too if you watch those scenes where he's always sweating
yeah,
because he's in
he's
the
kind of
South and it's
he's
like
in the South
a
and it's hot
million
and he's
degrees and he's
uncomfortable.
used to being
Yes.
cold. And just a nice details, incredibly performed by Sean Bean. And yeah, I will just say a little tidbit of stuff from House of the Dragon is in the book. These badge of office, as it's described for the hand, is a chain. It's a chain of interlocking golden hands. And in the original show, David and Dan, or the costume designer, whoever made the choice, decided to go with a brooch for visibility or for ease or whatever they were going for. And we very specifically decided to honor that when we did our show. So you'll see our pin is similar but different. They didn't have the molds
Right.
from our time. So ours is a little bit more antique, I guess, looking. This would be like kind of an updated, more modern design. But we based our design off of this design to try to keep that in world continuity going. And then we paid service to the interlocking hands with Kristen Cole, when he becomes Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, and also the hand of Aegon's hand after Aegon fires Otto on his the collar of his armor. We did the interlocking golden hands as sort of a chain of office in a nod to the original book.
Oh, very
So
cool.
that's how that all kind of came together.
Very cool. A little background detail. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So you were saying where are you jumping to? 50
67. It's
67.
One of Jamie's hero swords. It's a aluminum with a rubber handle, which sort of indicates use. You can see it's kind of banged up there. Again, I bet that's something you can screen match. I just always really liked that design and the kind of sort of gothic Dracula lion head on the hilt of it. It's just all very Jamie.
Yeah.
And
The lion head on the hilt is probably my absolute favorite detail. We should talk a minute, if we can, about sort of the various swords. So there are rubber swords, which would be used for like basically fighting, correct? Like kind of
yeah,
like actually we're going to hit these swords
yeah,
together. There are
or hit a
light,
guy.
yes, or hit a human. There are light, sort of often aluminum swords, which kind of would probably often just go in a belt and are light and not meant to be really be seen, but just simply
Yeah,
worn.
and you
Yeah,
can also draw it and brandish it, but you're not. It's not
right.
for a
But we're not
close
going to
up.
go super close up.
So it looks
And
metal when
right.
you.
And in
when you
this
draw them.
catalog, they are referring to those as action swords for the most part, which I think is a good
Mhm.
terminology. And I think the reason is they don't want to say stunt because while they are in a sense stunts, they're not heroes. They're not being used by stuntmen. They are basically the light sword that these guys are carrying so that they're not carrying a heavy sword most of the time. So a lot of the costumes, the full costumes, often come with what they're calling an action sword, which was basically the light aluminum sword that went in their belt. And as you said, it could be pulled out as long as we're not going in close or whatnot, which
Yeah.
again is sort of a, an interesting thing. And so in this one, and then there's the hero that are also the actual hero medal. So there's a variety of sort of terminology in the catalog that are worth sort of following. This one they're calling a hero, um, but it's I guess they're saying it's a rubber crossguard, and this one is aluminum. But I guess for close-ups, I'm honestly ever slightly lost, but maybe so. I don't know. Do you have a sense of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's my guess is that it probably did get used in a bunch of close-ups, and
Yeah,
I don't know back in that time, in this early part of the catalog that they were making the sort of finely crafted metal hilts and metal swords for everything because the budget was just they had to save everywhere they possibly could.
right. Um, I I marked 70 because I think the Cersei costumes throughout the entire auction
Yeah.
are spectacular. And I can be very honest here, I'm not bidding on any of them. I'm not gonna, I just this is not where I start my dress collection. However, this to me is so evocative of her with the sleeves and the sort of almost the delicate, beautiful kind of queen aspect, almost like a very like it looks like it should be worn by a heroine as opposed to Cersei, and I kind of love that dichotomy. And I just very memorable costume. I'm just thinking of her in that color blue, and just
Yeah.
how pretty the outfit is, and just the bodice and the sleeves and the different materials and the embroidery. Just an incredible piece. I mean, her dresses alone are a collection unto themselves. But I did just think it was
Where
spectacular.
would
So
you start your dress collection,
I don't
Dave?
know. I haven't really. I'm gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there very
Okay.
soon. Yeah. Um.
I'm at 97, which is a, hero retractable needle,
Okay.
um,
I
which
I will tell you, a lot of the chat I've been hearing a lot about is people interested in various needles. You know what I
yes.
mean? I think
Yeah, that's not a surprise, yeah.
yeah, I think it just something that people like. I will say this. Sorry, I'm just going to stop at 88, 89, which are some of these. The various proclamations, and these run throughout the catalog. There are some
Mhm.
various scrolls and documents, and this one obviously naming Ned Lord Protector and whatnot. And I just get a kick out of these. I mean, it's a different kind of prop for Game of Thrones. It may not be what you're thinking of when you go into this. You're thinking armor, you're thinking costume, you're thinking sword. But I like a lot of these little documents. There's books later on, from the Maester places and whatnot. I know. I just thought this was really cool. The 88 signed by Robert Baratheon. So I thought that was really neat. So wherever that fits in.
Yeah. Yeah, these are cool. There's a couple of Raven scrolls and things like that.
Yes.
This stuff is always very neat.
Sorry. So where
Uh
was that needle? 97.
97. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this because it's a retract, so, it was built for a specific action, it was used, they probably did multiple takes, whether it's the one in the final, close-up take, who knows, but they were probably resetting them and redoing them, and this is a kind of thing that we don't make anymore. Retracts are just not used, now we use CG, and it'd be like a half sword, without a point, for full safety, because people just really worry about these things
Oh,
malfunctioning,
because
especially when you're
the retractable could conceivably
yeah,
jam and then hurt
yeah,
someone.
yeah.
No, that
Even if it
makes sense.
doesn't
Yeah.
jam, if you fall, it's bad news.
Right.
It could potentially very
No, I
dangerous.
hadn't thought about that, but that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Um, we should probably maybe jump to 104. I don't know unless you have
I
something
will I
else.
I will
Oh,
say too, if you watch when Sir Eric Cargill in episode 2 of season 2 falls on his own sword after killing his brother in the duel. That's a half sword that he falls on, and we in using the magic of digital effects, the sword was sort of tracked and marked, and then in post we were able to add the other length of the sword on it, so it looks like he's turning around a full sword and then falling on it. But really, it's just this little half sword that he was given a place to kind of fall on it, where he was falling straight down instead of falling right on his belly, so it was done safely. And in the final cut, you can't even tell it goes right up, but it was just this little
Oh, that's really
half
cool.
blade thing. Yeah.
Well, I remember seeing some of the half Wolverine claws. Remember
Yeah.
from one of those
Same
X-Men
idea.
auctions? Yeah, same idea. Yeah. 104 is our first appearance of Longclaw. Seemed
Mm,
worthwhile, sort of pointing out.
an
There are
action one.
Yeah, an action one, but very cool. I don't know. For me, maybe the most recognizable weapon from
I think so.
of all the of everything. This is a nice one. Again, to be compared to some of the other ones, but very cool. Uh, just the way that hilt. What can I say? The wolf, the eyes. It just I don't know. It always jumps out at me. I love it.
Yeah, and
So
it's exactly as described in the book.
yeah,
It was a wolf head handle carved of white stone or pale stone with rubies inset in the eyes. I mean, they really honored that particular description, and it's this, like you said, it's the most recognizable piece, I think, single weapon, I think, from Thrones. I mean, maybe Needle, but I think Needle you just recognize because it's the skinny sword. I don't know if anybody could
right.
describe it down to the last detail the way you could with
No, it's
Longclaw.
it looks like a needle, but obviously the long
Yeah,
claw, the specifics of the wolf head is really special.
yeah, and she called it
Um,
Needle
right.
because she hated doing needlepoint, so that was why as her sister was very good at it, Arya sucked at it, and so but she was good at sword fighting, so she bought a sword. Then every sword needs a name, and then she named it Needle.
Um, I wanted to call out 108, not specifically for any
Sure.
reason. I'll tell you why. It's a Sansa costume. It's a very nice costume, but they have a picture in the catalog, which is behind Ned's head. You looking at that picture?
Yeah.
That's Ned's head. And I have to say, my one great disappointment is Ned Stark's head was not in this auction. I'd like to think it's in Dan or Dave's office, I hope.
Or Sean Bean took
Or
it out.
Sean Bean has it. Yeah, exactly. So I'd like to think one of those three have it, but that would have been really cool to be able to have Ned Stark's head. So I'll just simply say that would have been pretty cool. And then I'm up to season two. Anything else from season one for you?
Yeah, well done. Where was I next? I'm at 139 next.
All right, perfect. So yeah, we're into season two. The one piece, sorry, that I sort of thought a little bit about, and I guess I again, again, not to own, but I did think I just wanted to call out 120, which is Melisandre's crazy like web necklace. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah.
Just such a again, this is now we get into start. I'm just going to be very repetitive. Such a memorable character, so weird, so freaky. It's the first time in our world, which I know we were in a fantasy, but it's all feels very grounded. You know what I mean? It's all very, it's like it feels like we're in historical fiction in a way. And then all of a sudden, Melisandre gets added, and now all of a sudden, a little bit of the mysticism starts to
Yeah.
sneak in. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
just giving birth to a shadow baby,
yeah,
Dave. Yeah.
weird shadow baby, and I really, really love that. Um, I got a real kick out of just as they introduced the various Baratheon brothers, just how their costumes uh were so different and representative, that Stannis was so just like big pole up his butt, you know what I mean? And just
Yeah.
stiff and whatnot. So I
Boring.
thought that was, yeah, really kind of fun and cool. Um, I get a real kick out of, sorry, 124, which are some of the various map markers of the various. I love that kind of stuff. We talked a little bit
Yes.
about the Battlestar Galactica auction had those Viper map markers and Cylon map markers. I got a real kick out of these. These are sort of a little more generic. They're ships and whatnot, as opposed to anything later on. There's a set with like a dragon in it and stuff, but I just thought they were cool. So anyway, that was what I wanted to call out.
Yeah, I saw 2 sets of those at I know I forgive me, I think they're later in the auction because they seem to be
Yes.
later season ones, in England, and they're gorgeous. I mean, they're
Yeah.
and it's a set of 6, you could buy them with friends and mix them up, but to me, they're so evocative of the show, and I was actually kinda staring at those going, "Okay, well, if I had to have anything, I guess I would win this lot." But I think
Yeah.
those are gonna do well.
I think they're gonna go crazy, but yeah, they're just really neat. It's from later on when like it's like I think it may be from the final season or it's season 7 where I
Mhm,
think is where those lots are.
mhm.
Um, where are you next? Sorry,
I went
I
to just
distracted us.
139.
Okay.
Stop distracting my Game of Thrones prop discussion with your Game of Thrones prop discussion, Dave. 139, it's Renly Baratheon's crown, and I just uh, this show is so much about who's king and who's styling
Right.
themselves king and whatever. And the crowns are so important in this. And I just love this because this is just a guy who's kind of playing king and has no real claim to the throne because he's got two older brothers, one of which is dead. And he's really just saying like Stannis shouldn't be king. He's no fun. I'm fun. That's basically Renly's claim to the throne. And I abhor Renly, but I did
And
enjoy
this is
that.
it's a fun crown too. I
It's
mean,
a cool
he's
design.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun crown. Yeah. I got to see this in New York. It had a kind of a cool piece in the band, like a little foam to help keep it on his head, which I thought was just a nice detail of usage. Do you know what I mean? It was just kind of, it was cool to see, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and just, gorgeously made, I guess it's basically resin cover, rubber, I guess it's rubber painted. And it looks so real to the moment you touch it. You know what I mean? And you just go, oh, it's
Yeah.
not wood. They did
Yeah.
just a really nice job with that. Um, this is not, we're
Which
just the next
reminds me,
lot. Oh.
I gotta steal a couple thrones from my show, Dave. Gotta make gotta make that happen.
Please don't tell anybody. Um,
Yeah.
I just wanted to call out 140, which is not specifically like these are neat. These are Stannis soldiers, but I mean, I don't think a lot like this is going to go for a lot. And I love the shield. I think,
Yeah, yeah, the heart
something
of
to,
Allure.
yeah,
Yeah.
something to talk about just as we're going through this auction. Shields and banners. I think there is, from a, put one on your wall kind of an aspect. I think there's something to be said for that. And, again, I'm not sure we're going to call them all out, but just be aware they're there and they're just excellent. I don't know what else to say, you know?
They're great. I mean, we have on our show, we have so many freaking
Yeah.
shields, and there's tons of heraldry in our show because of all these minor houses that join the major houses and all that. And I just look at all of them. And the nice thing, and I imagine this is the way it was in the original show, on our show, just in case when you guys are looking at the official House of the Dragon auction in the next 4 or 5 years or whatever it is, ours are all hand painted. There
That's
is
gonna
no
be
machine.
October 15th, 16th, and 17th, 2031. So mark your
There you go.
calendars,
Yeah,
ha.com, ha.com. Yeah,
mark your calendars. If I'm still alive, I will be there answering your questions. Um, but ours are all hand painted, and that's how we keep them feeling hand painted.
right.
There is no other way to do it. You can't do it with a stencil, so that each one is painstakingly hand painted by
Right.
like kind of one person that does all of them. It's amazing. But I imagine these are the same way. And yes, the shields are
Yeah.
gorgeous.
No,
Uh,
really, really
I'm
cool.
I'm at 165 is my next, which is
Alrighty.
we teased this earlier, which was the Hound's armor ensemble from Thrones, and this is the thing you see him wearing the helm and with in the tourney with, and it's just cool. And to me, like, get that helmet, get this thing, and then I think the nice thing is if you win the helmet, I imagine this goes by fairly cheap because
I have to think people move away from this, that they're not
yeah,
interested in building their own hound
and then you
replica
have a
helmet to put on this.
full
Yeah.
Hound in your house. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just cool, guys. That's cool stuff.
Um, it's not worth going backwards, but again, one of the things that's interesting is like in this season, where Joffrey becomes king and we meet Marjorie in some of their, again, the quote unquote first appearances. And it's not exactly first appearance because obviously Joffrey's in season 1, but they've got like one of his king outfits. I think that's really cool. one of her just early outfits where you sort of see her. I don't know. Again, some of these like early costumes of key characters, I really do dig. So wherever that fits in,
Mm.
we've got some more map markers at
I think
168.
these are the ones I saw, and these are
Okay,
great.
yeah.
They have
I
my
love
endorsement.
these just because like the wolf head and whatnot, these are
Yeah.
just really cool. The flower, the squid attacking the boat, these are just really cool.
Do
Yeah.
you know all those houses, Dave? Can we test your house knowledge?
I do not.
Give it to me.
Obviously there's a lion, which is Lannister, so that's the
R
third one, right? And the
right,
wolf is the Stark of the North.
right.
The flower is whatchamacallit, tell Cersei it was me, whatever the heck that
Yeah,
is, right?
Terrell.
Tyrell. Um, the the red, is that supposed to be upside down? Is that the flayed
Yeah,
corpse of the
yeah,
Boltons? Okay,
yeah,
so that's
that's
the
the
flayed
Bolton.
corpse of the Boltons. Uh, the squid on the boat, is that Theon's people? Is
Yep,
that the
Greyjoy.
Greyjoys?
Very good,
Okay.
Dave.
Yep. And
This is
then
good.
I don't know what the middle one is, the star. The starry
I'm
thing.
telling you that because I've now read the lot, but that's the
Oh.
Karstarks. That's one of the northern
Oh, I would never
houses,
have
and
guessed that. Yeah.
they have a white sun as their.
Oh.
I was trying to place that. I
Nope.
knew that was a northern
Nope.
house. I forgot
Nope.
which one,
Nope.
but the
Didn't know
Karstarks. Okay.
Northern House, didn't remember the Karstarks existing. Yeah.
Oh, good,
Um, yeah. But
good.
that's a really good lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's another one, 89172, as well. Another set of markers down there. Similar.
And I know I mentioned this 170, 171, a couple of books from the library, which are just really cool as well. Just, leather bound history books, a history of the great sieges of Westeros.
Oh,
I just
they're so
love, they look
they're so
so
good.
good, and that they, there's writing in them, and someone like, a prop person has gone to that trouble. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
think I might have talked about this on the show before, but a lot of ours are Bibles
Oh,
because
interesting.
it's just these big old leather bound, and there's tons of them because the tons of Bibles in the world. And what our team does is they'll hero up a couple of pages within it, so you can
Sure.
turn pages within, but the rest of the thing is just a Bible, and the cover's been done, obviously, decorated if it's going to be a hero thing that the characters interact with versus just being a piece of set deck.
I marked 175, which is bronze dagger. I think there was another one of these earlier, but I marked this one. I just always remember it was sort of unique, that shape, and I really love that character. He kind of ultimately kind of disappears, but I did really enjoy that character and his relationship with Tyrion early
Yeah.
on in the show.
Yeah, and
I
that thing
remember
gets a lot
that
of action.
fondly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then 177, the axe, which I think is a really memorable. They have the armor as well, although, or some of the armor, I guess, pieces of the armor.
Yes.
But I that axe is to me just really memorable for him.
Yeah.
So I really did like that in terms of having a key Tyrion piece that sort of jumped out at me wherever that
Yeah, and that
fits.
to me is just a big Gimli nod to me I just think all the way through the continuing that symbolism, playing on the fantasy tropes, of all of that. Um, where am I next?
I'm kind of
Oh,
cruising. I'm
yeah,
actually I'm done
I
with
go to
season 2, but yeah, where are you?
yeah, I go to 270 next. I took quite a jump
Oh,
after that because
whoa,
a lot of
okay.
this stuff we were seeing kind of duplicates and multiples and other
Yeah,
things. And
I mean, season 3, I was just going to say, we kind of get introduced to the Wildings, and it's all lovely stuff. They have like Mance's outfit, and I love that guy, however he pronounces his name,
Mance Raider.
Hines. Yeah. Well, I was going to say
Kieran.
Kieran
Kieran.
Hines.
Yeah.
See, your time in England has done you well. But I don't know. I just, again, at the end of the day, the fur costumes for me, they're the Wilding costumes. They kind of blend together, although I do like it. So that's what you're seeing at the beginning of season 3.
Yeah.
There's also some Dothraki warrior stuff, which is
Mhm.
kind of cool because you get the various weapons with them. So that's kind of interesting. Again, it's all interesting. That's what's so painful about this auction. Like even like a background soldier, like, oh, this is cool, kind of a thing.
No,
But
it's
anyway,
incredible.
yeah,
It's incredible. I mean, this is very I imagine if there was a Star Wars auction, you'd be going through the same pain because it's
yeah,
like, do I want a Leia costume or do I want a stormtrooper? I mean,
right.
it's so cool.
So where were you first? I'm sorry, what was your first number?
270, which is a
Well,
big one.
I was gonna stop really quickly for 201, which is just another, to me, just gorgeous Cersei outfit. I just think it
Mm,
deserves to be called out because it's got that crazy sort of metal, I don't know,
yeah.
bodice, or I don't even know what to call it, but it's just so intricate and so beautiful. And I love 202, which is the boar's head on the wall. And I was joking, we saw this at in New York City. And I was joking I could put it right there to kind of behind my head for
Yeah.
people who are bothered by, like, sometimes when there's nothing there. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
wherever
very
that
good.
fits in. Yeah.
That's very good.
So let's jump to where you're talking about.
There's another
What was
great
that?
Tyrion too, by the way, 247. Just another key Tyrion outfit with the lions and the gold, and it's gorgeous. And it's a Tyrion costume. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's other things that are sexier. People want, swords and helmets and things like that, but that's a Tyrion costume. And I mean, I would imagine that's screen matchable. I would just say,
Yeah.
I think do your research.
Did you stop at all at 213, the baby Drogon maquette? Did you look at that at
They're cool.
all? I mean,
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's certainly if you want a dragon, they're all
yeah.
digital. So that's we ain't
No,
got
I
any
know. It's
dragons,
just sort of,
physical
yeah, no,
dragons on our show.
it's a little maquette, like sort of a stand-in piece, whatnot. But I did think
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
kind of great. So
Rhaegal
yeah.
comes later at 268 too, which is maybe in a little better condition. But yeah, they're fun. They're cool. I didn't realize they had these, which is it's really interesting. I didn't realize they made them. I
Ah,
figured they were
gotcha.
kind of living in digital world, as we do.
I want to call out one detail just to look at for 1 second. Look at 233. It's just a wilding ensemble, but I just love that the sort of armor decorative is just like muscle shells. Did you see this
Yeah,
one? 233.
yeah.
What a just a gorgeous detail. I mean, just love that. Love that. Love that. And 234, Littlefinger, just very elaborate coat and whatnot. So I don't know. I thought that was cool. All right, we're gonna get to where you are. Two what? 270? Oh,
270.
there's
It's Jamie Lannister's full Kingsguard armor set from season
gotcha.
4, and man, it's just look at that.
That is really beautiful. I
Look
mean,
at
there's
that.
no other word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with
It's just
with
full on incredible. Yeah.
with Oathkeeper. Yeah, just there you
Yeah.
go.
Full on. And then they've given him in this one, he's got the gold hand, even though we're not up to the gold hand. So you actually,
Right. You get one.
yeah, this is actually the start of season 4, I should say. I guess we
Yeah.
went through season 3 somewhat quickly. A lot of wildings and whatnot.
Yeah.
So season 4, you get the full Jamie, and you get like one of the, I guess, stunt gold hands, which is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, and
Um,
then the hero hand is 274, or a hero hand, I guess.
yeah.
And man, look at that.
I guess I sort of understood how they, obviously did it. It basically, his hand goes in the hand, but got to kind of handle this in New York, and
No,
it was
Nikolai
pretty
was really
great. Yeah,
committed, Dave. He
chopped it off.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he really wanted to
it
be
was
able to
just really gorgeous, just really, really gorgeous.
put
And
himself
what's really
after.
great about it is just there's a sense of like bad science of the day. Like, this is like the best we can do. We put our best minds to it, and this is what
Mhm.
we've come up with in a very fun way. So I thought that was kind of extra cool. But basically, yeah, there's sort of a bottom and a top that kind of fit together, and his hand goes in, and then it kind of like wraps around and
Mhm.
seals in the back. It was just really gorgeous. I got a real kick out of it. Um, but yeah, it was pretty just fantastic. I was going to go to 282 next for Widow's Wail,
Yeah,
Joffrey's sword, just because
yeah.
it's so ornate and gorgeous and different from so many of the other swords that we've seen in the show. You know what I mean? A real king's ego, I guess, basically. You know what I mean,
Yep,
in terms of what this
yep,
would look like.
yep,
Yeah.
and made from ice. So it's,
Yes.
got ice DNA, got Stark DNA in that sword.
283, which is one of Joffrey's outfits, the way they did those, like his outfits, but then that extra drapery to it,
Mhm.
um, he's such an asshole. It's like even the costumes are assholey in a really great way. I mean, talk about, character meets costume. It's just like it's not even like it's not foppish. It's just sort of like it's a costume that sort of says, "I'm better than you, and I'm gonna wear
Yeah.
this." It just, I really, really spoke to me in a great way.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I got to see 286 in person, which is,
Yeah.
Olena's, Terrell's, wedding outfit,
Diana Rigg.
Diana Rigg, and it is, I mean, you could tell from just looking at the costume that they knew when they were making this thing that Diana Rigg was wearing this thing. Like, I can't explain it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? It's like, it's so beautiful. It's so ornate. It's so simplistic yet complicated with so many levels, and the just the embroidery on it. It's exquisite. They knew it was for her. They had to. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like they wanted her to wear it, and it's
Yes.
just fabulous. Yeah,
And I will
just
tell you,
really
Dave,
wonderful.
knowing people who worked on, the original production, everybody was legit terrified of her.
Oh,
So,
really? I would believe
yeah.
that. I would believe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the first Game of Thrones and then continued onto your show, it's a veritable who's who of British actors. I mean, at some point
Yeah.
you run out of British actors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we've dealt
Um,
with that.
yeah. I mean, but I mean, but and yet, they didn't have what's his name,
Simon Russell Beale.
Simon Russell Beale till you got him this year. So
Yeah.
there's still always somebody, but it's this veritable who's who, and despite the who's who, yeah, I could see how she'd be one of the more intimidating people just ever. Yeah, I get it. I get it. 290. I love from the it's the crazy the jousting
Yeah.
outfits from the wedding. I just thought these were so fun. They're so offensive, but
So
so fun.
offensive
Yeah.
and insulting to Tyrion. Yeah.
Unbelievably offensive, but just really, really fun. So I just thought that was just pretty incredible. Um, the Stannis one, oh my God, with the on the riding the
Yeah.
woman. I mean,
Yeah,
just
and the Rob with
unbelievable. The
the
Rob, oh
Grey
God,
Wind
on
sewed to his
yep,
head,
on the
and
donkey. Yeah. Oh
yeah,
Lord.
oh,
Yeah.
man.
Really
Knows how to show
offensive,
a lady a good
really
time,
excellent. Yeah. Really
that
offensive, really wonderful.
Tyrion.
Um
I like Joffrey's death eyes. I feel like those will be a thing. 297.
I
People will
actually agree with you.
celebrate him.
In the world of props, that's pretty wonderful. And the pillow too, right? The death
Mhm.
pillow. Yeah. I think that's pretty excellent. Uh
Here's
God,
a good Jon Snow, Dave, 301.
301. Oh, yes. Yes,
That's
yes, yes,
very
yes, yes. Yeah.
evocative to me of, like, what I think of when I think of Jon Snow.
Yeah.
This kind of
There's
costume. Ra
another Night's Watch
Ranger of the Night's
costume.
Watch.
Right. There's another Night's Watch costume that's sort of simplistic from his earlier days.
That's
But
his
this one,
training costume.
yeah, this one with the cape and the fur and the,
Mhm.
out, it kind of levels up a little bit. And I really do like it. And again, it comes with you get a sword with it, which is very cool as well, which I think is part of what makes these full costume lots pretty incredible. But this is definitely up there for my probably one of my favorite full Jon Snows. I agree with that. That's really, really nice. Um, where am I next?
There's so much great stuff now. You
Oh,
can feel the money in the show at this point in the catalog. You can feel how much more resources they had. Everything is getting better and more detailed, and even the secondary characters. There's layers and
yeah.
embroidery on everything, and this is the kind of quality that we were able to do right out of the gate. Thank you, original Game of Thrones. It's just the sort of stuff that you see them evolve their way into. But it's very cool
I
to
was
see
gonna
that here.
No, I mean, Cersei's costumes are becoming even more
They're
complicated in a great
crazy, yeah.
way. Yeah. If you look at 307 and 308, the dress and the robe, just
Yeah.
wonderful. 309 is an Oathkeeper, a standalone lot of
Mhm.
Oathkeeper that I thought was really beautiful.
Yeah, those
Just
swords are beautiful.
yeah, just a really just and obviously at this point it is Brienne has it. I don't know. I just thought it was pretty fabulous, and just seeing the work on the blade and all of that, it was really wonderful. I liked her armor as well, which was 310. I don't know if it's as I guess it's semi memorable, but the Oathkeeper I thought was pretty special.
Yeah. I go to 332, which is, friend of the podcast, Pedro Pascal. His, armor
Hey Pedro, if you're listening right now, yeah, go
and
on.
Wushu sphere. Love Pedro. Yeah, I mean, I think I've told I don't know, I've told you this story before, but I think I've told the story in the podcast. He was my first pilot.
Yeah.
He left it and knew that I was a giant fan of this show and the books and everything, and called me one day and he's like, "They asked me to come in and read for the Red Viper. What Tell me what you need know about the Red Viper." And I was like, "Oh my god, the Red Viper! That's like the Boba Fett of Game of Thrones." And we went out to lunch, and I just kind of downloaded my brain into him, everything I know. This is what he is. This is what to read. Blah 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 blah. And then he like texted me 3 months later, and he's like, "I'm in wushu spear training in Croatia," and I was like, "This is fucking crazy." And then there you go. He's now a world famous man of world fame.
Now he's
Uh,
literally in everything. He's in every
Everything you
show.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every show. Yeah.
yeah. He's all four of the Fantastic Four, isn't he? He's playing all of them. But
Um,
this is a cool costume, and this is from that the
that
scene,
sequence. Yeah.
his scene, which is just it's great.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool scene. I love, there it's the what did you call the sword? Or I'm sorry, what did you call the spear? What is it?
Oh, it's just a spear. It's
Oh,
a Dornish spear. No,
Dornish spear,
he
gotcha.
I think they taught him wushu spear, which is the kung fu, the Chinese spear
Ah,
training.
gotcha.
That was
That's what I
the
was
style that he was doing.
Yep. Along with him, just to throw it out, I thought 333, the Ilaria Sand, just I don't know what it is, sort of robe,
Yeah,
just again gorgeous, and
very pretty.
when we finally kind of got to see these folks and just sort of this notion of this other, again, yet a new world, even within the world we knew, and it was so different. It just was really, really beautiful, and love in particular those shoulder pieces with the scales on it, which I think match his armor, same as his armor, was really cool. So wherever that
Yeah.
fit in, um, really neat. Some more
46.
wilding outfits. Yep.
Just this gorgeous Brienne ensemble. I love that armor, and this is a
That's the
full
armor.
full
That's the armor
costume.
I remember. I mean, I guess that's what the same breastplate was before, but here you
Yeah.
get the full.
But the full thing with
Yeah.
an oath keeper, and it's just like this is
Yeah.
the one to go for, and what an icon that character,
Yeah.
346.
That is really gorgeous. And then we get another needle. And then I don't know why it made me laugh, but the lot 349, which was the bed chamber set. You get the full set
Yeah, there
from
you go.
yeah, the end
Just
of
convert your bedroom, a romantic
yeah,
gift
the end of season 4, which
for
is
the Game
just
of Thrones lover in your
yep,
life.
always just very, very funny. I don't know why. Um Jumping forward, we're into
5
season 5. Where are you
5 3
next?
5 3 2. Oh,
They're
yeah, I
flying.
jumped, yeah. I jumped because I this stuff is, again, all great, but, like, we've now seen multiple Tyrions, and it's hard to pick. You have to kinda pick, like, which
No, I
season did
mean,
I like
I do
best
agree. It's
and
like
which episode did
here's
I want,
another
you know?
incredible Cersei, here's another this, yeah.
So I was
No, I
scanning
don't
for things that I
disagree,
had
yeah.
not really seen, and then, I mean, we can cruise down here and look at the stuff.
I am gonna stop really quickly just on 396, which are some of the faces of the dead from
Yes.
when she's working or she's learning to be an assassin. Those are really cool. And then, if I understand it correctly, I think some of them were just crew members. They just took face masks of crew members.
Yeah,
And
somebody
yeah,
told me that they were in there. I forget who
yeah.
that would have been, but yeah,
Oh,
somebody
someone
did
who
that.
actually their
Yeah,
face is in there. I
yeah.
think that's pretty neat. That would have
I
been
think
a
that's
fun
great.
thing. Yeah, a fun thing to sort of be a part of if you'd gotten that opportunity.
Faceless
Um,
face.
yeah. Um, I liked all the Sand Sisters. I
Yeah,
thought
all
that was all
yeah,
really
the
fun.
sand
Yeah.
snakes. All of, his, bastard sisters.
Yeah.
God, miss the
Very
Dornish. We don't have any Dornish in our show other than Kristen Cole.
Oh, he's Dornish, but his costume isn't particularly, he's not really
Well,
there
he's
ain't
as I said, he's of Dornish
of
descent
Dorne,
'cause
right,
he
he's not
grew up he grew up on the, he grew up in the Stormlands, but they're right on the border,
right,
so there have been interbreeding, and he was common born and all this, so we made him of Dornish descent. That was really just trying to infuse a bit of, color into the cast, kind of literally and figuratively, just
right.
so that everybody wasn't just sort of, European descent, and it helps to make Cole just feel a bit more of an outsider. Not only not noble, but I have this like Dornish blood. The Dornish are outside of the Seven Kingdoms at this point because they have not yet been brought into the fold. So they're the sort of, they're the Moors, the
Right.
Spanish Moors. They're on the other side of the empire, and they're seen as the other, and it helps Cole to feel more kind of othered and outside, and that's why
Very
we did
cool.
it. Yeah.
I 427 just because it's the first lot of them. There's more to come, but just the Targaryen banners, they're just fantastic. Just the
Yep.
banners with the dragons on it, just really, really cool.
Yep. Those are a
Um,
win.
yeah, I
Although
mean,
I will say, if you wait till 2031, I think there will be some of those for sale.
yeah, there'll be a few more, couple of
Couple
extras.
handful if you're
Um,
really into it.
yeah. I stopped at 436. I'm not even sure it's like I'm not sitting here going, this is my favorite costume, but just Ramsay Bolton was
Ugh.
such just yeah, so wonderfully horrible that I just feel like his costume deserves a shout out. It just does. Yeah. So there it is. There's my shout out. Um, where are you? Are you at 447? Is that where you went to?
532. I
Oh,
still gotta
you
go away.
gotta
I
stop
still
at
got a ways to go.
447. I'm sorry, you
Okay.
gotta stop at
Oh yeah,
446 and
yeah.
447.
Shame Bell.
So 446 is Sister Septa Unella, played by Hannah Waddingham from later
Mhm.
on from uh, uh, ah,
Ted
soccer,
Lasso.
Ted Lasso. And then the Shame Bell, which is
Yes.
just incredible. I don't
Yes.
know. I was sort of thinking Shame Bell could be one of the highest prices in the entire auction, if I had
Yeah,
to
that's
guess.
that's
Yeah.
that's very true. And thank you, Hannah, for proving my theory that when you put on a septa costume, nobody recognizes you, because this was the
Yeah.
thing that made it possible for us to do Rhaenyra infiltrating King's Landing. Because I was like, once you put that thing, nobody on
Nope.
our show when we were having this argument knew that was the lady from Ted Lasso, and I
Yeah.
was like, that thing, because that thing makes you anonymous.
Yeah.
It's an
It's
anonymous cloak, and
no idea. By the way, I'm
yeah,
looking at the picture of her and I'm not sure it's her. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. I like the
uh,
traitor sign too.
yes, very,
The
very cool,
the
very memorable.
and
Do you think for a
should Matt
second about any of the giant dragon heads at all? Is that anything that you're
no,
interested in or not? No.
God, no,
No, just have one in your
no.
backyard.
I
No.
have one of those.
um, season 6. We're now in
Yep,
season 6. Look at us
yep,
flying by.
flying through.
Where are you? Where are you
I'm
next?
st I'm at 532 still is my next one. We keep teasing
Okay,
this a lot. There is a
sorry.
bunch of stuff between here and there. I think I was just
No, I
sort of
get it. I liked 465 just because it's a maester lot, and I just love that
Mhm.
it had the chains on it.
The chains are very
Yeah,
cool, yeah.
I always like that idea of the chains, and you each get a thing for each level of knowledge. And I
Yep,
just like to have an example of that. I thought was just really cool.
yeah.
So I
We have some
definitely
cool
like
maester
that.
chains in our show. They really went for it with those. Those are
Oh,
really
that's
they're all
neat.
metal, and they're really like, another thing. Need to steal one of those at some point.
I
Um
I really did dig that. So I thought that was cool. Yeah. Um, sorry, five what? I'm sorry.
Oh, there's a hero needle. 514 is a hero needle.
Oh, okay, very nice.
That's gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
a bruiser, that one.
Yeah, people are gonna go crazy for that just because it's just that is a gorgeous, gorgeous sword, and obviously, in this case, the hero, really, really pretty. So, yeah. Well, here we go. There's, 525 is a hero long claw. So take a
Yeah.
look at that. That's pretty incredible.
Oof.
And I think
Could
this
that
was
be the
smart.
biggest thing in the auction,
I
Dave?
think it'll that I think that, the needle and the shame bell, I guess if I was picking, if I had to pick, and I think they were sort of smart. You could have put this sword, in theory, anywhere in this hero sword. And I think, it's not exactly the end, but it's sort of the back, the sort of the back half. And I think that's smart in terms of
Yeah.
the days, whatnot. And great
Waiting
picture,
this
great,
side is
great,
smart.
great picture from Battle of the Bastards. Just really
Yeah.
good picture choice. There's a
532,
Yes,
hand of the
exactly,
queen pin.
just to be able to get a pin unto itself, because all the
Yes.
other pins are on full ensembles, and so this is an opportunity, which I think
It's
is
awesome.
pretty neat, yeah. So that's something I definitely have my eye on as well there, just because it is just so cool. Um, I love, she was so memorable, 534, Mormont, when she popped up the first time, the little
Oh,
girl,
Liana. Yeah,
who's now on the zombie show.
yeah.
I can't, sorry, I don't know her name.
Last of Us.
She's Bella, right? Bella
Bella Ramsey.
Ramsey. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
they kept adding her more and more, just fiercer and fiercer and fiercer. But I love that costume of hers. Um, so again, very just memorable. I got a kick out of, just to call her, because we haven't mentioned her really yet, and actually we haven't really talked about Daenerys either. But 538, what's her name? Sorry, Missandei.
Miss
I mean,
Sunday, yeah.
I always liked her. Sort of, she had a real specific, distinct style, and this, I think, outfit really does capture it in a great way. So I thought that was kind of cool. Um, I was going to show you on this is in one of the videos, so please check this out in the videos. But 539, we're now into season 7. So that is the Walder Frey prosthetic mask, but when you pull it off, the face underneath is Maisie Williams,
Yeah, Arya. Yeah,
Ira, yeah, sorry.
Arya.
Really, just really neat the way they did it. That it kind of, so it's the sort of latex mask on top of her face, which
On
I
top
just
of
thought
her
was
face,
really
yeah, which
cool.
is
Yeah,
very cool.
got to see that in person, which I thought was just really cool. And then they have her Walder Frey costume, which to me was very memorable. Obviously, when she kills
Yeah,
him, so that was
yeah.
pretty incredible, I thought. So yeah,
550, Dave. I mean, 549 is great too if you have a room
the
that's
room
even
for it,
bigger
yeah.
than a Batwing. You can put your Westeros map on the floor. Love that.
You put
But
that on the floor, you paint the walls yellow, and you put your Batwing up. You really got something.
yeah,
That is
but
a recipe for divorce. Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible.
but the next lot 550. I mean, this might be the best costume, my favorite costume in the auction.
It is beautiful. All of that lion detail on the
Oh, it's
shoulder. I mean, yeah,
incredible.
just so perfect and so ornate, and so ostentatious in a wonderful way.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful costume, and I love just the wear on it. That even though he's Jamie Lannister, it's seen some mileage on it, which is just kind of cool on top of it. 551, Euron Greyjoy, not a character that ended up, I guess he was in there in the back end in the mix, but just, a little bit of pirate, a little bit of Johnny
Mhm.
Depp in there a little bit, but just a real character. And I think, again, another great costume that kind of hooks it up. I also really like 552, the Dragon Glass book. So I thought that was really
Yes.
fun. Yeah.
Yes.
I
That
just
is
really
I
like
think
the
I think I
cover
saw
of that.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I saw that one in London. I think that was actually in the case there. If
Oh,
I
very cool. Yeah. They had a couple of books as well, so that was neat. Um, I'm gonna jump, because
557,
which one? I'm sorry?
the Daenerys costume. I mean, she's the best
Yes.
costume is
Yeah.
yet to come, but this is one of the great ones, I think.
This is pretty special. I agree. This is a real, I mean, it's so funny, obviously a lot of her earlier costumes are sort of the damsel in distress kind of, like just the dresses where she's sort of an object, of her brother and whatnot.
Mhm.
And this costume, I just love this evolution. And again, I know we talked about it, but the thing that this catalog really lets you do is, you could just look at Daenerys and just look at her costumes through the seasons, and you get to see character evolution, which I just love. And that's just a great costume. And then 560 is the really cool map markers. I thought these were the
Yes.
ones, yeah, that were just really neat, because there's a dragon. Now you got a dragon. So yeah,
Yep.
uh, pretty special. Yeah. Um, I got a kick out of 561, the insane mountain Queen's Guard outfit, because
Yeah.
it's just madness, just giant and huge, which was very fun. Um, where are you next?
There's
Let's
another
see.
Daenerys costume, 584, which is gorgeous. I mean, now we're into these, like, there have been multiple versions of each of these. And again, you have to go through and decide like which one you're gonna pick. And
Right,
if you
which one is the
really want a
important one
needle,
too?
you have
Yeah.
to sort of stack them up and do which one do I love the most, and then which, where do they fall. And I think you don't want to bid on the first one, but you also don't want to be bidding on the last one. Again, we'll talk strategy more as we go
So
into a lot of
584, is
episodes.
this is your favorite Daenerys costume, you think? Is that the one you were talking
No,
about? The
I think, I mean,
Dragonstone? Oh.
I like that a lot. I think it's the death costume. Either the
Okay.
death costume or the white
I
fur
like
when she goes
I
to the
like the
north.
white fur that she takes to the north. I thought
Yeah.
that was a real favorite. I thought that was really sort of special. I think we're about to get to that. I can't even
Yeah, here
tell
we are.
anymore. Yeah.
612. That's
Okay.
God, that's amazing.
So now we're in now we're in the third day. Oh my lord. Um, the the white with the masks and stuff, which are like 609 and 610, are
Yeah.
just really gorgeous. But yeah, 612, her, I don't even know what it is, the leopard fur, and then each one, some of these later costumes, they come with her chain, which has the three dragons
Mhm.
piece. I think that you can see it there, which is like just handcrafted and just so beautiful. The chain alone would be worth. You can get a real nice shot of it on page 521. If you look there, you can see
Yeah.
the three dragon head on the silver chain. It's like just beautiful, ornate, and handcrafted. And then what I laughed at was, I guess there's, and then the wig is its own piece too, which is
Mhm.
hilarious. That the wig unto itself is like a character, because that's not what her hair was like. I also got a real kick out of 614 because it's one of the lots where it's built on a green screen sort of costume. And that's
Yeah.
how they did basically the various pieces.
Yeah, the
Obviously,
removal.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's a really neat piece of movie making, I guess, for lack of a better word. Um, and then we start getting into so much of this, like some of these, so we start getting into some of these dragon glass pieces. I am a huge fan of 618, which is Jorah's dagger,
Yeah, that's
because I
very cool.
love that it is obviously a dragon glass dagger, but he's kind of crafted it to be a really great looking dagger with the big white handle and the sort of metal, I don't know what you call it, but like it's a great looking dagger. I thought that was a very memorable piece. So I thought that was cool. I love the Night King costume that
Yeah.
jumped out at me. Um, I love when you see like 622 how sort of severe Cersei's costumes are kind of getting. This one
Yeah.
in particular,
Very
we saw.
Dune.
Yeah, we saw this one in person, and the back, the spine is very dragony and whatnot. So even though
Mhm.
she doesn't have dragons, she very much, just carrying forth, I guess, sort of in some ways the Targaryen king, even though she's not a Targaryen, the throne, I guess, some aspect of that. But yeah, just intense. And they don't have a picture of the back, but you can see the back in our YouTube video. So check that out, the YouTube channel. It's just gorgeous.
264, another incredible Daenerys costume. This might actually
Yes,
be my favorite. This because of the one that this one particularly stands out.
624, not 264. What did you say?
624.
624.
Six
Yes, yeah.
624. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, now she's getting more militaristic, and it
Yeah.
just things are getting very very intense here in the back end. Um, everybody's like just fully armored up. It's so funny just to see all these characters just getting, even even Sansa is getting, her outfit is getting, intense, and
Yeah.
Baelish, everything's getting very black and very dark and very
And even the
militaristic. Yeah.
non-armor is looking like armor, I guess. Even
Yep.
the costumes that aren't armor are looking like armor. I like the Golden Company shield, 640.
Yep.
Um,
So now we're into season 8. There's another gorgeous fur coat jacket that she wears, that
yeah.
Daenerys wears, 633. There's a great little 635, another Tyrion that has, it's the sort of it's just his top, but it has a hand pin on it, which is, it might be a back door to a hand pin, which is kind of cool, just because it's not a complete costume. I don't know. That's where
Right.
my brain went. Um, but just, yeah, that Golden Company was really cool. Uh, God, this stuff is just so incredible.
And then stuff from the Long Night. There's so many,
Yeah.
weapons and armor and things and
Yeah, Sansa's armor 650 jumped out at me. Just again, that full
yeah.
evolution of her,
Very
where
very Dune, very De Laurentiis
it
Dune
is
to
Dune,
me.
but at the same time, also very like, she's kind of, she's becoming Cersei. You know what I mean, in her
Mhm.
own way, which I don't know. I just again love some of that that evolution, if you will. Um, yeah, it's just starting to get really, really wild. Jorah Mormont 659, Heartsbane, his sword,
Mhm.
very, very cool. Um, and then you just start getting into these various the Dothraki ones. The 665. Uh, these are light up. They light up. These are these Dothraki weapons that you might have
Yeah.
seen in one of our
As you
videos. They light
demonstrated
up.
on
Yeah,
the
exactly.
video.
They're really, really cool, and there's
In
a couple of
phonetically
them.
perfect Dothraki, I might
Yeah,
add,
no,
Dave.
I spent 2 years learning it for that video.
Mm.
But, boy, I just think that would be a fun piece to have. A Dothraki piece like that would be very enjoyable.
Yeah, and those should you should be able to get one for not too terrible because
Yeah,
there were
I
a
mean,
bunch of
these
them,
lots
and
of
it's not a
3
principal
and
character.
yeah, a couple of
Yeah.
lots and whatnot. Um,
Oh
yeah,
god,
I mean,
another 694. Daenerys had so many costumes in this
I know.
season, and they're all incredible.
They're all
Uh,
gorgeous.
yeah,
It's
and
just
this
piece
has the
after
chain on
piece.
it
This
too.
the final season costumes here are it's just kind of
Bananas,
overwhelming.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
688, I think certainly maybe
Right,
needs to be
basically,
up
Dave,
there.
these
Yeah,
costumes are like, "Oh, yeah, oh, Veep, oh, you wanted to go on location for that extra week? Ooh, sorry, we can't do it because we built lot 695 for Cersei Lannister out of
yeah.
solid gold and one of a kind Italian velvet."
No, it is wild. I think 688, the Valyrian dagger, is going to be a huge,
Yeah.
obviously, the piece she kills the
It's
Night
pretty
King
funny,
with.
Dave, because that's the one that they sent to us to model ours off of. Because we
Okay.
recreated ours
Yep.
for the show. And look, no slight to that piece, but you can kind of tell that that's not the best one that they made for the show. And now seeing that that's the only one in the auction, you kind of go, where did the where
Well,
did this steel hero Valerian daggers go?
we'll
I just
never
wonder.
know. We'll never know, but
Hmm,
it's still pretty good. Yeah, it's still
makes you
pretty
wonder.
good. Yeah.
But I've
But
held that one before.
it
It
is
came
gorgeous.
it came in a, like, locked case that was basically handcuffed to a guy who flew it to us from like, a courier flew it to us from Belfast, walked into our studio and stood there while my
That's
armorer
hilarious.
measured it and then put it back in the case and sent it on its way.
Have you gone ever to Belfast to see like
No,
the exhibit up there or anything like that? Okay.
not yet. Nope.
I was just curious. Yeah. I hear it's really cool. Um, yeah, I mean, every lot here is really interesting. I don't even know where to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like,
I mean,
what do you
Daenerys's
do
death
here? Yeah,
costume, 713.
712 and 13. Is that
Yeah.
where we are?
Or is
Yeah.
that I mean, that's the cost that is the end costume, but I don't know if that's the one that she
Oh, I think 712. Sorry, is Cersei's end costume, and then
okay.
713. I think is
Oh,
Daenerys's.
713 and 714. Same
Okay,
similar costume, but one is death and one is not.
right. One is dragon wings behind her,
I
which
mean,
they have a great shot of. Yeah,
I think this is the top grosser of the auction, personally.
interesting. You
714.
the death outfit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. And again, you get that dragon chain. I wish, unfortunately, there is no. I would if there was the dragon chain alone, I
On
would
its
go
own.
after
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I just think it's so incredible. I mean, I understand why there isn't, but boy, that would be really really cool. Um,
The Iron Throne,
yep,
720.
the melted. Oh,
Oh,
that one. There's also a melted Iron Throne too.
which
Yeah,
is actually from the show. And
yeah,
then there's the unmelted one.
right.
It's a touring throne because obviously there's one throne. I think they probably archived that one. But these are very cool. We only have we only have one throne. We only built one. It was a very expensive, very large build, and yeah, there's one of them. It's built. It's a set, so there's only
There's
one of them.
one of them, and it's downstairs in your basement.
And no, will not be for sale. Sadly, at the end of this either. I imagine that also gets archived. Um, the 726 is cool too. This lot of helmets. I mean, the helmets guys are
Well, I was
just
about to say, starting with 721 after the throne, we're now getting into the part of the auction where it's just these
the group
large
lots. Yeah,
lots where, again, it's 12 minor house banners and then it's 6 minor house banners. I mean, these lots are beautiful. The shield lot 724 that you were talking about, 13
yeah.
shields. I mean, it's an incredible lot. Um, and I don't know whether this is, they're just pure bargains to be had, or you get together with a couple of people and everybody gets a helmet or a shield or something. But this back end here is where it'll be really interesting, I think, down the line to sort of see what these things go for, where they disappear into collections, whether people are sharing them or if people are buying them and then breaking them up. And for the next couple of years, we just keep seeing, shield and swords being offered. Again, not at giant prices, but just sort of as people try and kind of like, I bought a lot of 13, I kept 4, and I want to get rid of 9. You know what I mean? Like, are we going to
Yeah.
see the sort of the the ramifications of these larger lots in the back end here? It's not a bad thing. I'm just very curious to sort of see what happens. We talked a little bit about it. I like the shields. I like the helmets too, but I do really like the shields and the banners in particular, just because of the artwork and the sort of recognizable, oh, I know what that house
Yeah.
is, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. But I was staring at like the a solo Lannister helmet. I think that's lot 824, the one that I actually saw on a little stand with a dagger next to it. It's just gorgeous. And like that
Yeah.
thing should, at this point in the auction, that thing hopefully goes for a couple of grand because nobody's got any money left. Just grab it. That's
Yeah. At
that's
this
Game of
point, I hope
Thrones.
everyone's just kind of asleep or something.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. But
I
this is
have
a
to
great
say,
place to kind of clean up and split it up with your friends and get a
yeah,
bunch of collectors together and go at the thing. I mean,
a Stark
I didn't.
direwolf like shield or banner would just be a really fun, cool thing to
Yeah.
have to remember the show by, as far as I'm concerned.
And I didn't call any of these out. I don't know what the best lot is, but you'll have to go back and look if you're interested. But just one of those full Lannister soldier costumes. I
Yeah.
mean, again, that should be less than $10,000. I think at the end of the day, just given how much is in here, and I
And
just think
maybe,
that's
and even
a
if you
total
don't go for the
steal.
full, just a sword and a shield, or
Yeah,
what,
get the
a
helmet.
round shield, the big shield, the helmet, and here's a lot 835 with 2 swords, 2 helmets, 2 shield. I mean, again, these things. I think this is going to all be very doable, and I think the wonderful thing here is, yeah, okay, not everyone's going to be able to afford, a hero, Jon Snow, ensemble, whatever. But I think this stuff is going to be priced to move, and this is where the fans are going to really get their opportunity. That if you love the books, you love the show, and you always wanted, a Lannister or a Stark or whatever, I think there's a real opportunity here to get something for your wall in a really great way. I mean, look at the number of lots of these Dothraki things. 10,
Hmm.
3, I mean, just huge amounts. I
And
mean,
tons of markers here at the
yeah,
end. Yeah, I mean, go look at the end of the auction. I mean, it's an incredible auction, guys.
yeah,
You should
so much
register.
dragon's glass. I mean, it's kind of funny, the one or two pieces that have shown up previously that have gone for like really good money. I mean, there's so much dragon glass. I mean, 895, 30 pieces of like pole arms and whatnot with dragon glass on them. 30. I
Yeah,
mean, come
yeah,
on. It's just kind of incredible. So I think this back end is a real opportunity for the newer collector, the collector on a budget and whatnot, but also, by the way, just for the fans. I mean, I just think there's a real
yeah.
opportunity. If you are a fan of this show, you can get something. And by the
There's
way,
something for everyone in this
and
auction.
there's something really cool too, dare I say, because it's
It's
not
not
just like,
a
this is not throwaway stuff where you're going like, oh, it's just paperwork or something. It's really
yeah,
cool,
yeah,
right to
and
the end. Yeah,
this isn't a auction, a high roller table auction. There is high roller stuff, but this is not.
yeah,
This is a very egalitarian auction. There's something for everybody at every
yeah.
class, and
I think that's
something
really
great.
nice. I'll just say again, October 10th, 11th, and 12th, ha.com. Go check it out. Ryan, in summary, if you had to pick one thing, if you could add it, is it the Hound? Is that where, if you had to pick one
Probably the
thing,
Hound
just
helmet. I either that it's that's lot 11 or lot 550, the full Jamie Lannister armor from the like tail end of the season when he's out commanding the troops again. It's so
yeah,
gorgeous.
no, it is
Yeah.
fantastic. It is really
Yeah. I
fantastic.
mean, there's so much great stuff, and every time I zip through the catalog, I'm like, "Oh, that's great. That's good."
Right.
It's hard to make a list. And it's funny. There's someone that works on House of the Dragon that is on our crew. That is a big fan listener of the podcast, and he wrote me when this came out, and his like head was exploding, and he's like, "Where do I go?" And this and that. I was like, "Make your list." His list was like 50 things long. I was like, you need to winnow your list, my friend. We need to talk strategy. And he's like, I can't, I'm getting married. I can't this and there and whatever. So he's stressed out in a very fun and nerdy way. But I think we converted him from prop curious to like full mental patient
To full, my bride just canceled our wedding. Yeah.
over the 3.5 years that I've known him, and we've been running this podcast. But But I think he'll be attending our live show, so we'll have to get him to write in and
Excellent.
ask us some questions.
We can help him narrow his list of 50 down
I
to
said
a solid 43. A list of 43.
Yes, I'm very good at spending other people's money.
This is exhausting in a good way. It was really fun to look through. It made me.
I feel like I just finished a long meeting at my work, Dave.
I feel like we just binged 8 seasons of the show. Is really. I mean, I really did
I feel
take
like I
me
just
back.
went through a very long art department review.
Well, really, really cool. I look forward to this, and we'll be doing the live auction, which will, by the time this airs, we'll have done the live. Sorry, the live auction. We'll have done the live episode, which will then air as episode 2, and then we'll get on with it. But good luck to everybody with whatever you bid on. I don't know. Anything else to add?
Follow us at Props Podcast. Write us at dreamsareMadeOfPodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Subscribe
and
on
check
YouTube.
out all the Game of Thrones videos on our YouTube channel, plus other content, as they say. But definitely all the fun Game of Thrones videos on the YouTube channel. And we'll see you next week. Really fun.
Yep.
Bye.